Hey, welcome back, Dirty Dave fans. Been a while. Old Dirty Dave got a little sick, had a little bout with cancer I had to deal with. So sorry to have been gone for a while, but trying to make a comeback, and looks like I kicked cancer's ass, so that's a good thing. Back today working on my 09 Harley Street Glide. Been having a problem with the radio with the left speaker cutting out, and apparently it's a known issue with these older head units. There's a cold solder joint in there on the motherboard that starts flaking out and your speakers start cutting out. But I've always hated the stock radio anyway. I've been using a little Bluetooth adapter in the auxiliary port up front here so I can stream music from my phone. But what I'm going to do, since I had to take the fairing apart, I went ahead and got a whole new head unit and new speakers, which the speakers haven't shown up yet, but we'll start with the head unit today. I opted for the Rockford Fosgate head unit. I know it's a little more expensive than some other options, but this one had the best reviews for working with the existing handlebar controls and some other things, and it was worth me paying a little bit more money to have that peace of mind. I ordered it from Crutchfield, who is an authorized dealer for their gear, so I know I won't have any problems with warranty if I have any issues with it. But also, I just ordered some cheap speaker upgrades. I didn't opt for real expensive speakers. It's I don't blast the music on my radio driving down the road. I want to be able to hear what's going on, but I do like to have a little music while I'm driving. So just to give everybody a heads up, because I'd already taken some of this apart before I thought to make a video. I just pulled the fairing off real easy. You take your 3 screws off the front where your windshield attaches. I think it's a Torx 25. Yeah, I just use a T25. Put something on your fender in case you drop something. I've got a roll of material here that I put there just to give it some protection. But once you get those 3 bolts out, get your windshield off. I had a pouch of some little windshield bag up there. But once you get them out, and you got more Torx bolts. You got one here and one on the other side, right under the mirror, same spot. Then it gets a little tricky. You got 2 more. There's only 4 bolts that really hold your fairing on. And the other one, I'm going to show you on the left side. I don't know if you can actually see it, but it's up in here. I think right about where my finger is. If you could see that, you'll see it. I already took mine out. But there's one on either side of the fork. And it's a T25, so you can't mix it up. There's one there, one here, and then the exact mirror image on the other side. So 4 of them, but get somebody to help you, or when you take that last bolt out, hold your hand on the front of the fairing, or it's going to fall off and drop on the floor, and you don't want that to happen. But if you can get a helper to help you, that's even better. One thing I did notice, once I got in, I went ahead, and it's the same T25 to remove the speakers. There's only 3 screws, 2 long ones up top, like this. I put one in, and then a short one at the bottom. But as you can see on this side, there is a support bracket. They call it an inner fairing brace. It's just a piece of metal. It bolts here and here. This side I took out, no problem. I get over to this side and realized mine's broken on the other side. What a piece of crap. This thing, I mean, this has never been apart. So at some point, this cheap metal that Harley used just snapped. I'm sure it was made in China, even back in '09. So I had to order a new one on Amazon.com. I found some for 17 bucks. And I'm just going to wait and put that in when they get here. They'll probably get here about the same time as the speakers. But I pulled the grills off the old speakers. They're kind of glued on. You can see here there's like some sticky tape. I pulled that off and just stuck it up in there with a screw so I wouldn't lose it. The new speakers that I ordered an adapter too, because I'm going from the stock 5 1/4 inch speakers to some 6 1/2 inch speakers, so they're a little beefier. I figured while I had it apart, I may as well do it, and I only spent like 120 bucks on the speakers. Again, I'm not trying to have the loudest, baddest bike out there when it comes to music. I just want to be able to hear it a little bit while I'm driving down the road and still have all my controls work. But also, this thing is, I can stream my iPhone to it, and it has a USB connection that you have to drill a hole to use it, but it's like a corded. Let me open it up and I'll show you. And I'm probably going to go ahead and install that into my fairing. So that's a nice thing. I like putting music on a flash drive. And it comes with a, you can see right here, it's wire tied up, but it's just a USB port that hangs, but it has a dongle and a grommet. So you're going to have to drill a hole. I'm sure in the directions it's going to tell me what size hole to drill through the front inner fairing. And I'll figure that out, and I'll mount this thing in there so I can use the USB port for either charging my phone while it's in the cradle or streaming music from it with a hard wire, so there's no dropouts, because that does happen sometimes with Bluetooth. So give me a minute to start. You know, like I said, we've already pulled the speakers out. It's not rocket science. I took a picture of both sides so I would know, you know, which way the black goes, which way the white goes. It's pretty self-explanatory though. One's bigger than the other. I just don't know what the new speakers are going to look like till I get them, but they should mount right up. To get the head unit out, there's a button here. You're going to need to, oh, when you're pulling that fairing off, be careful with the headlight. Just don't yank it away. There is a plug that you have to squeeze to unhook your headlight. So make sure you do that before you go yanking your fairing away. Got 2 bolts on either side. I'm not sure what size they are. They're Allen heads, and they're kind of a bitch to get to. I don't know if you can see them in there, but there's one here. You can definitely see that one sticking out a little bit, and there's one right behind it, and there's 2 on each side. So I'm going to get the Allen wrench out. I have a few here with the ball end. Ball end would be your friend here because it's at a weird angle, but I'm going to find out what size that is and be right back. Alright, we are back. That Allen wrench size you're going to use here is a 3/16, and you can see here there's a hole in this support bracket coming down that I put mine through, but I actually cracked it loose from the front here with a standard size. If you don't have a set of these, I recommend ordering a set of these shorty Allen wrenches. I got some off of Amazon, and I'll try to put the link in my description below, but this whole set, I got the metric and the standards, because there's a few spots, especially if you got an older Harley, and I'll tell you right now in this video, you always learn something that you didn't expect. Down here, the exhaust brackets come loose on these bikes, and you'll start smelling oil or seeing oil dripping, and you need a shorty like that to get in there, because a standard size Allen wrench will not fit. So you can either take one that you got and grind the head off, but I just went ahead and ordered this because I've run into a few other situations just like this one where those short heads come in handy. So use a 3/16 Allen wrench, get in there and get the 2 bolts on each side loosened up. To unplug this, it just looks like a clip. We're going to loosen that up. I can't do it without my hands free. I need both hands, but we're going to loosen that plug and pull this plug out. Once we get those 2 screws out, we'll unhook the radio here. This just unplugs, just like a car radio would. But it's only on mine, it's just this one side plugged in. I don't have rear speakers. This is a real easy upgrade for me. So I'm going to get this disconnected. Once I figure out how, I think I need to stick something, stick something under it like that. It's just on the back. But again, with one hand it's tough, but I did it with one hand. There you go. So let me get those 4 screws out, and then we'll just slide this straight out, and then we'll be ready to put the new unit in. Just a quick tip here while I got my flashlight out. For the other side of this, if you're looking at it from the front, the right side of the radio, you're going to have to use this little hole over here. It's a lengthwise hole. I don't know if you can see it since everything's black, but it's right where this, I've got a wrench going through there, a little ball end Allen wrench, 3/16 Allen wrench to get that back bolt. I used it for the front one too, but they are put in with like some blue Loctite or something, so there is a snap to it, but you can see the angle you're gonna have to go at to get that. So you gotta have a ball end wrench to get in there and get that loose. But crack it loose, turn it a few times, and then you can pull your wrench off, your ratchet off the end, and just use your hand to take that out. You know, I have a 3/16 actual socket long tight ball end wrench that I used, which was very helpful. So quick tip, I'm going to pull that out and then it should come out. Alright, so stock head unit is out. Once you get those 4 screws out, you're going to have to jiggle it and pull it from the back. Pull it out this way. because it does have a rubber gasket on here to keep it, you know, weather tight, and it's a little snug in that string, so you're gonna have to wiggle it, you know, back side to side a little till it pops free, and then just pull it straight back out of the harness, out of the shelf that it's sitting on. Piece of cake. The new one's just gonna slide right back in. We're gonna bolt that up in just a second. All right, one more quick tip. I'm on the right side again, looking from the front. If you can see down in there, the two bolts, I recommend putting that back one in first. Now, that way it's not, the front one's not in your way, because you don't have much room to get your fingers in there. I unhooked this plug up top to make it easier for me. I'm gonna plug it in now before I forget. That got this cable out of the way for me. Now, the instructions that came with the radio to say to pull the old radio out the front, you can't do that. Those instructions are wrong. You have to take it out from the back, and the reason being is that bar on top with the rubber bumpers, and the new one has the same thing. You can see it from back here, but I didn't listen to the instructions because I knew that wasn't going to work, so I pulled it from the back. And to make it, it's a little tricky getting the new one back in because it's tight. What I did was let me see if I can do this while I'm holding my light. I pulled up these cables and hoses and whatnot to give me a little room, and kind of went in at an angle, like because the front has that rubber gasket on the front of it, and it's not going to fit through the brackets. It's too tight. So you kind of got to get that over the hump and then push it down into the metal brackets, and then push it through until it makes a good seal on the front of the bike. And you can look, it's in there nice and tight. It's got the rubber gasket all the way around it. So we're good to go. I got the two bolts in. I'm going to do the two on the other side and then plug my two cables back up. And that part should be done. And when the speakers get here, we'll pop them in and we'll test everything. Okay, so we got our new head unit mounted. Couple tips. Don't tighten any of the 4 bolts till you get them all in, because once you get that head unit gasket through the front, it gets tight and a little difficult to move, and you don't want it tightened down because you've got to line these things up perfect for you to be able to thread your screws in. So keep it a little loose in case you got to push on it or straighten it out. And I'll tell you, if you have one of these, a socket wrench with a grip on the end, this is a 3/16 ball end socket. If you can see, let me put it against this white stuff so you can see it. It goes on a 3/8 drive ratchet. It's a lifesaver and a time saver. You've got to have that ball end tip to do it though, because I don't think a straight one's going to work. You don't have enough angle on it. But we're all plugged up. All we got to do is plug our harness back in, which I'm doing with one hand. So it clicks. Hopefully it'll click. There it goes. All right, so that's good and snug. Now we plug our antenna in, and I just got to figure out where I want to mount my USB port. This is a Sirius satellite connection, which I'm not going to use, but there is an input if you want Sirius radio. I could give a crap, but I'm going to figure out how to do this USB port before I button everything up. So the speakers are next. I'm just waiting for them to show up. As soon as they do, we'll put them in and we'll test everything out. Be back. Okay, so the speakers showed up. I'm a little hoarse today, so bear with me. This is a bit of a challenge, mounting these stabilizer brackets. I went ahead and put the basket in on this side, just so you could see how it all worked out. I probably should have turned the speaker a little more this way because this leads a little short. And when I do the other speaker, I haven't mounted that yet because I wanted to be able to show you guys. I'm going to probably angle it this way, but this reinforcement bracket, mine, by the way, when I got this apart, mine was broken right here. Nice job, Harley Davidson. I had to order a set off of Amazon. Luckily, they came quick. These are a little beefier than the stock ones. I'll show you the stock one here. It's just a thin little piece of metal, and the end was broken off of mine. This end, actually. So I had to order a new one because it was broken, and I wasn't putting it together that way. But just my luck, it barely reaches. I had to put it on top of the speaker. I had to mount the speaker on the Meta speaker baskets, which I ordered from Sonic Electronics with the speakers. That's what they look like. They're just little plastic bevel mounting rings, because the stock ones aren't going to work because they're too small. They're for the 5 1/4 inch speakers. So, but it does, I did save a screw and put it in one of the empty holes just to give it some rigidity, and it is holding it. So it's just barely there though. It is what it is, folks. That's what happens when you get Chinese stuff. But I went ahead and put this basket in. You only need 3 screws for the Street Glide. They're all the same size, and if you order these Meta baskets, they come with the screws in the right length you need. So you don't want to use the stock ones, or you'll be drilling through the other side of your fairing. Don't do that. Use the ones they send you. I loosened the bracket on this side. This one's still intact. Once I get the speaker on, I'm going to find a spot to mount this to on this ring. And you can see there's lots of holes to mount your speaker to, so you can turn your speaker any way you want. I'll probably loosen this one up and dial it over a notch just to make it point this way a little. I also ordered, and luckily it came quickly from Amazon, and I'll put links to all this stuff down below. I ordered a USB adapter plug. I'm going to replace my lighter because I never used the lighter. Well, let me open this up. Show you what I'm talking about. So this will go in place of the lighter, and basically, because this radio has a hard USB connection built in, and it has a dongle on it and a plug, which I couldn't get to go through the cigarette lighter. It's supposed to fit in there. It's like a rubber gasket. I'm just going to plug this into the back of this and leave it coiled up, and I'll have a nice place to plug in USB power or a hard connection to my phone, my iPhone, if I want to run music that way into the unit. So just a little extra feature. So I'm going to get my other speaker mounted up. The speaker comes with this black mounting hardware. It comes with these clips if you need them. I didn't need them. Once I got that in, I just screwed right into the plastic bezel, and it's pretty solid. It's not going anywhere. So I used the solid holes in the speaker. You'll see some of them are like half holes. I used solid holes. I have a screw here, which I attached my bracket to, and have one here, 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 and that's it. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 screws plus this one holding it in. So 4 screws altogether. All right, folks, we'll be back. Okay, so she's plugged in. Both speakers are working. Sounds pretty good. I've gone through the menu, and you can look at the instructions and adjusted the EQ and everything. Just playing a little classical guitar because I'm a nylon string junkie. Everything's hooked up in the back. It's getting ready to storm here, so it's getting kind of dark out. But I might try and rotate this speaker because this one connected a little better. My bracket over here, I'll put it in at a little bit of an angle. But this is the stock bracket, and maybe that's why it fit better. But other than that, that's all there is to it, guys. I'm going to run this USB line now. If I have any problems, I'll let you know, but I don't think that's going to be a big deal. Enjoy. Nice unit. I'll put the links to everything down in my description. And these speakers, by the way, I didn't want to spend a fortune. I think I mentioned that. These are like some unknown Chinese brand from Sonic Electronics that had really good ratings. NVX, and they were reasonably priced, 6.5 inch coax. They sound fine. I'm not trying to blow myself out of the seat. I just want to hear my tunes driving down the road without the radio cutting in and out, and I think I've accomplished that, and I didn't break the bank. So, safe motoring, guys. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time on Dirty Dave's Garage.